Long ago in the savanna lands of West Africa, there was a powerful kingdom called Mali. Before it became mighty, before it rose in gold, it was a cluster of small tribes ruled by lesser kings. One of these was Magin Konfata, the king of the Mandinka people. A prophecy foretold by the hunter wrapped in skins that he would father a son who would become a great king. Not by his beautiful queen, but by a mysterious hunchbacked woman named Sogolon Keju. The king scoffed at the prophecy, but the words clung to him like smoke. And soon the woman came, Sogolon Keju, wild-haired and bent, her body strange, her presence fierce. Everyone mocked her strange appearance, but the king honored the prophecy and married her, and from their union came Sundiata, the child of prophecy. But lo, when he was born, the people laughed in whispers. The child crawled like a lizard. His legs were twisted, weak. For years he could not walk, and people whispered that he was cursed. A king? This one, they murmured. Even his father began to look away. The years passed. His stepmother mocked. Her son strutted, proud and loud. But Sundiata stayed low, listening to the ground, feeling the stories in the earth. One day, when he was still a boy, his mother was publicly humiliated. She wept in shame. Sundiata, burning with shame and fury, stood up, literally. With the help of a strong iron rod, he rose to his feet for the first time, breaking his rod and his chains of weakness. From then on, he walked tall and proud. The queen mother, jealous of Sogolon, feared the boy who now stood taller than her dreams. And so she schemed. The winds of betrayal blew cold. But just as the lion found his legs, the king's breath grew short. Whispers of the boy's rise had not even faded from the courtyard when Magin Konfata's eyes closed for the last time. The queen mother, smiling like the moon before an eclipse, moved quickly, and the throne was taken. The king passed, his bones laid beneath baobab roots, and the crown did not fall to Sundiata. It went to the son of the stepmother. The people groaned, but silence ruled. And so Sundiata was exiled, he, his mother, his sisters, his honor. But exile is where kings are tempered. It is the anvil of greatness. Sundiata journeyed through kingdoms of dust and salt. Mema, Du, lands with strange tongues and sharper blades. But the boy did not weep. He learned. From blacksmiths he learned how fire shapes even stone. From warriors he learned how silence can be a shield. From kings he learned that a ruler does not rule by fear, but by rhythm, the rhythm of his people's breath. He built alliances and trained as a warrior. Back in Mali, darkness had come. Soumaoro Kanté, also known as Sumanguru, the sorcerer-king of Sosso, had risen like a sickness. They say he did not laugh. He did not blink. His skin drank shadow, and his eyes glowed like storm fire. He wore a robe stitched with the tongues of kings who dared to defy him. Yes, tongues. He didn't just silence them. He wore their silence. In his palace there was a chamber of skulls, the heads of rulers, warriors, seers, lined neatly like trophies. Some said they whispered secrets to him at night. Others said he whispered back. His armies marched like thunder. Cities fell like dice. Griots were gagged, shrines burned, Mali trembled. He took what he pleased and laughed as Mali wept. Dankaran Tuman, Sundiata's half-brother who became king after their father died, could not face him. He fled to another city, abandoning his throne and people. His mother's political schemes had elevated him, but he lacked both the spiritual calling and courage to stand against such a powerful enemy. The people cried out, "Where is the child who stood when the rod bent?" And far away in exile, Sundiata heard them. He rose, not alone, but with warriors, kingdoms, and memory at his back. He returned, not as the boy who couldn't walk, but as a warrior king. The year was 1235 when rivers held their breath. The sky was heavy that day, not with rain but with reckoning. Sundiata, the lion of Mali, had returned, no longer a boy crawling through palace sand, but a warrior cloaked in destiny. Across the plains of Kirina, the drums began to speak. Boom, boom, boom. Like heartbeats, Soumaoro Kanté didn't ride a horse. He glided, wrapped in black silk and silence, his army behind him like a storm cloud, shields of iron, faces painted with ash. And before him, his enemies trembled. He raised one hand. The wind stopped. He raised another. Birds dropped from the sky. Even the sun seemed to hide. Soumaoro's magic was not just tricks. It was built from fear, bound with tongues, whispered through skulls. Sundiata stood across the field, tall as the baobabs behind him. He wore no fear, just truth. In one hand he held a white cock's feather, soft but strong, symbol of truth, light, and the breaking of spells. Tied at his side, a sacred arrow, blessed by griots, blacksmiths, and ancestors, and around his waist the name of his father, spoken with every breath. Then came the clash. The horns screamed, warriors surged, spears danced like lightning, shields clashed like thunder. Soumaoro raised his cloak and vanished into smoke. He appeared behind men, and they fell. He whispered spells, and swords turned to snakes. But Sundiata, he did not chase the shadow. He listened to the earth. And then he aimed his arrow, not at Soumaoro's body, but at his shadow. Yes, the shadow, for that's where Soumaoro hid his soul. The arrow flew. The wind stopped. Soumaoro screamed, not in rage, but in pain. His magic cracked, his cloak lost its smoke, the skulls went silent, the sorcerer fled. Like a hyena in the night, he ran, into caves, into hills, into stories. No one ever saw him again. Some say he became a crow. Some say the mountains swallowed him. Others say he waits, beneath stone, still whispering and listening to the skulls. But his power broke that day. Sundiata did not take revenge. He took responsibility. He built laws, not just palaces. He united the tribes, restored peace, and founded the Mali Empire, which would become one of the richest and most powerful empires in African history. Sundiata ruled the kingdom of Mali Empire for about 20 years, and then, quietly, as the sun sets after a long day, he passed, around 1255. He was buried with great ceremony in Niani, the empire's capital, and his grave remains sacred and hidden. Some versions claim he disappeared like the wind, never to be seen again. He was succeeded by his son, Mansa Keita. What many do not know is that from that same blood came another light, roughly 60 years later, a great pilgrim, a master of gold and scripture. Mansa Musa, a great nephew to Sundiata. To this day, griots, traditional storytellers, sing the epic of Sundiata. Up next on Uncombed Tales is the story of the town that danced itself to death. A true story so eerie it will leave you questioning reality itself. We upload new videos weekly. Subscribe to our channel. It's new.
The emperor, the conqueror, the champion, the lion is here. Zobu, zobu, reigning by reign. Toya dike, nenu dike. Toya dike, nenu dike. Clear the road for Musabi. Step aside for the game changer.
Smoothie removes product residues left on hair shaft, preventing product buildup. Results in shinier, silkier, healthier hair. Juneberry butter moisturizes and nourishes. Waxy Genius is a sealant. It's applied after butter to slow down evaporation rate. This ensures hair stays moisturized and softer for